Hello, everyone, and welcome to Beers and Boost. I'm Barry.
I'm Zach.
And I'm Nathan.
So, another remote recording session. So hopefully this one goes all right. Last week, Zach was a little quiet. We've done some tests. We hope we got that fixed out for you guys because I can only hear them. I can't hear what it's going to sound like in the recording because Zach has moved on to be the audio engineer. Matt and Sam, they're both gone. So, yeah.
And the video guy. It's weird.
And the video guy.
Have we checked on Matt and Sam with all this quarantine stuff? Do we know if they're
That's probably
alive?
a good idea. We should probably check to see if they're still alive.
Okay.
Here's to them if they aren't.
Pour one out for the homies.
And honestly, there's to them if they are.
All right, well, let's get into the news. Nissan is recalling about 216,000 vehicles from 2010 to 2017. That's a pretty big range. The affected cars are the 2011 to 2012 QX57s, the 2012 to 2016
56s.
56s. Letters and numbers, they trip me up. I can't help it. English, hard.
That's all we have to read.
Also, numbers are the same in every language. The shape of them is the same.
Honestly, there probably is one or two languages out there that's not true, but...
Probably.
Yeah.
Anyway, moving on.
Ancient Hebrew. Yeah.
It's going to be one of those streams.
Oh, yeah, it is.
I don't know why. I guess it's just because we're actually, like, streaming to each other. I keep thinking we're streaming and we're not streaming. We probably could.
No, this isn't live. I guess we could do a live episode, but...
We could do a Twitch stream one day with just us playing video games and bullshitting.
Sounds like every day.
Yeah.
But try to make money off of it. I'm kidding. Anyway.
We don't make any money.
No, we don't make any money. Total Recall. We're doing news. So the 2011 to 2012 QX56s, 2012 to 2016 Armadas, 2010 to 2017 Nissan NV vans, and the 2012 to 2015 Titans for Takata airbags.
Takata!
We actually haven't had that in a while. I'm kind of surprised.
A little while. Yeah. Hey, before we move on to what, talking about it a little bit, the NV vans, I don't know those.
Imagine like the Ford Transit van, but Nissan.
Oh, okay.
It's just a cargo van. It's just meant to haul crap.
You should never see them around here.
I actually saw one the other day that they went full like Roverlander, where it was like lifted on huge wheels with like the tent rack and the ladder to get up the side, and it was pristine, so you know that they just drive around the mall looking like they're going to go camping, but don't. Yeah. Where was I? Yeah.
Talking about Takata.
Yeah.
So if you have a Nissan or Infiniti of those ranges, go get it checked. You probably don't want to get shotgunned in the face.
Especially in these trying times.
Yeah.
Unless you do. We never stick up for the people that want to die.
Should we plug the suicide hotline right now? Nathan, do we need to talk?
Hey, what? Just call me. I'm bored.
Yeah, I mean, I've been stuck in this room for 3 weeks now.
I mean,
Because the lock doesn't work.
Oh man,
I just have Tammy slip like naan bread under the door.
Rachel's been at home she counted it back on Friday was 18 days.
Ugh.
And until Friday hadn't left the house for 18 days. Not because of she was actually in quarantine, but because it was one, her job's closed, but then two, quarantine, and then three, stay home, it's COVID. But no, a plug for the suicide hotline, 1-800-273-8255. If you need help, there's always help out there, guys.
Mm-hmm. It's the first time we plugged them. Probably should do that more often because I
probably
big advocate for any kind of like charitable organizations to help us up like that. So
absolutely.
And last but not least, Toyota.
Nope. There's 2 more recalls.
Oh, there's 2 more recalls? Oh, there is 2 more recalls.
One's just really small, so it doesn't quite
Hang on. No.
As Zach reads over that, I'm wearing our Beers and Boost emblem shirt. If you would like to, follow along with us, you can donate to a charity that we donate to. Kind of the COVID stuff's fucking all that up right now, but we'll send you a shirt. They're actually in that closet right there. I'll send you like 1 or 2 of them.
He'll sanitize
but
it first, and you sanitize it when you get it.
Yes, but yeah, if you like it, here it is. It's our emblem.
A couple of the good charities, since you brought it up, with food banks running low and
Absolutely.
everything like that. There are a couple really good food bank charities. I think America's. I think it's America's Pantry or something like that is what it's called.
That sounds familiar. Yeah.
And then World Central Kitchen. World Central Kitchen is Jose Andres, Chef Jose Andres. He kind of started that after the Puerto Rico hurricane. And they are specifically making meals for medical workers.
Oh, nice.
So,
yeah.
I actually do have one more plug before we keep going. If you are a PC gamer, Humble Bundle for the next 2 days. So I guess you guys probably won't get it by the time we get the video up.
You'll have until Tuesday when we put the video up to get it.
Yeah, well, it's 1 day, 22 hours, 43 minutes, and 2 seconds. So we'll see.
No, it'll be over. Yeah. But they'll probably have another one, so you can still talk about Humble Bundle.
Yeah, but keep an eye out for Humble Bundle. They do a lot of charity bundles like this. I actually just picked this one up. It was $30. It was $1,000 worth of video games and books, and the charities are Direct Relief, International Rescue Committee, Doctors Without Borders, and Partners in Health. So keep an eye on Humble Bundle. They always do a lot of great stuff like that. And now is the time to, if you can, don't stretch yourself thin.
Yeah.
Give where you can. Anyway, back to Total Recall. Not last but not least, Toyota is recalling 38,000 of the Highlander SUVs for some faulty engine control software that may cause your car to stall due to cutting off the fuel supply.
Yep.
You kind of need that to move.
Wow.
Yeah. My software is just going to cut my fuel. Basically, my fuel pump is just going to go, nope, not happening.
No, you don't need that.
That is truly a please turn on the fuel. I can't do that, Dave moment. Like,
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Toyota has a software update for you. It's only $13.99 for the season pass. I'm kidding.
Hey, they're not EA. They're not EA.
Not yet. I'm sure some car manufacturer's going to get there. I just know it.
Ford's already talked about that.
True. All right.
Comes with a bonus pack of Hearthstone cards.
That game was so
actually never played Hearthstone.
I've watched it played. It seems interesting. I just don't know if it's my kind of game.
It just seems like different type of Magic to me. So
pretty much, yeah. So Subaru has a pretty small recall, but an important recall. A little under 5,000 of their 2019 Crosstreks are being recalled for a bad rear seat belt assembly. There's apparently a bad spring in the webbing sensor lock that could cause the seat belts to fail. Depending on who you put in the back of your car, you probably want those.
Yeah.
I would say at least 87% of the people in your back seat you don't want to come to harm.
Yeah, that's a good number. You might put Zach back there one time and you're like, man, I hope he dies this time.
Didn't work last time. Yeah, walk away with those headphones on.
Actually, I can almost get out the door. I actually had to do that last night. It was getting super hot, and I was like, I wonder if I can make it to the switch. And I was like, oh, I got plenty.
Okay. About to choke myself in my beer there, Zach.
You're welcome.
Also, that beer went down super quick. I love that beer.
Which one?
Probably shouldn't drink it that quickly. That was Spacesuit. Spacesuit on can, just like really simple, really good. We'll talk about beers later in our next episode, but for now, let's talk about Mazda. Mazda is, quote, to quote myself, thinking outside the box of combustion engines.
Okay.
They're going to put the engine on the outside of the car?
Outside the box.
Outside the box, which is the car is the box. But no, so right now they're looking into the idea of a biofuel made from algae. So an algae-based biofuel. Mazda is saying that the fuel would only release as much carbon dioxide as the algae has soaked up during its growth. The algae farming itself is much cleaner and can grow on a land not really suited for full agricultural. So not really meant for, crops, corn, wheat, things like that, but actual throw algae out there, cut a little trench in the ground, it grows, you have very, very clean stuff because algae does eat up all your carbon dioxide. Algae is your number one producer of oxygen on the planet. So that alone, just having algae farms would be great. But when it actually pushes out, the only thing it pushes out is the carbon dioxide it's soaked up, you're kind of like, I don't know. It's a 1-to-1. You're never adding carbon dioxide than what you use to produce it, which is great. But you're still putting carbon dioxide back out there. So I guess it's a catch-22 kind of a thing.
Yeah, it's cleaner, but it's not perfect.
Exactly. But they do say that this is not harmful to freshwater resources, which is a huge thing because fractal farming, anything that they do with low-level oil scraping, so they scrape the crust of the earth and just squeeze out the oil out of it, kind of like you would do a potato if you're making hash browns.
Or latkes.
Yeah, or latkes. Shout out to Benjamin with Babish's Basics back on Thursday.
Really good. Better than mine.
Yeah, they did look good. But yeah, that stuff is extremely harmful to the ground, the soil, and the water that's relatively close by. So this would be a very high situation, at least when it comes to that. Mazda's whole thing is apparently a sustainable Zoom 30 plan. So we don't have any. I know, right? Interesting name. Mazda has kept the Zoom for a while, which is that's a good marketing ploy to keep it for such a long time. But all we know is that this is hopefully to be a part of it. Coming 2030. We don't have a set goal or a date yet, though.
Good. It's an interesting idea. I like the just exploring alternative options. It's
the right direction.
Yeah, but one of the things that we've talked about on this podcast a lot is hydrogen-based fuel. Hydrogen is like the true, real, like if we're gonna go green, and EV is not the answer. It's hydrogen, and that's where everybody needs to put their effort towards is hydrogen sources. Hydrogen cars, and then also the pumping of hydrogen. Like that's it. All it produces is water. All it uses is hydrogen and pushes out water.
Yeah,
it's fantastic.
Infrastructure for hydrogen's kind of a bitch because it's hard to store and transport. But
it's extremely combustible. Like hydrogen bombs.
It's the future. It's just like we're right at the beginning of lithium batteries again in that phase. So
we'll get there.
Absolutely.
Super big, super heavy. Super expensive to make. So.
Coming on the line. Hopefully it'll be there. But let's talk about some kind of terrible stuff. And it's actually not COVID related. It's a little bit underneath the crust of COVID. So I don't know if anybody else out there has known this. I didn't really catch this until this week. So gas is extremely cheap right now. Like I think I heard somebody say they paid less than $1 per gallon just recently. Like that's insane. That's like before my time of gas prices. Well, apparently Saudi Arabia and Russia have basically gotten into a dick measuring contest with oil, and it's not going very well. So Saudi Arabia put out a, quote, pump at will order back in February, and they were supposed to meet with Russia back in March to talk about oil and all the other things that go along with it. Well, apparently that meeting never happened. And according to Dmitry Peskov, who is basically a diplomat for the Russian oligarchy that's over there, is apparently there is no plan in place to talk, and they have definitely not talked, even though Trump has said they have talked. So we are basically looking at a possibility of the entire market of oil that we know of right now could be thrown on its head, not just because of Corona, but because if Saudi Arabia and a lot of the other Middle Eastern countries, a lot of that money is from oil, especially the Saudis. Like their main thing is oil, but also so is Russia. Russia is all about guns and oil. I'm kind of not looking forward to the head of this when it probably does get there. It could ruin the economy as we know it, maybe even the world as we know it. So
we're already on the brink of that anyway, I think.
Yeah,
I was about to say, I think that may already be in the works.
Yeah. It's one of those things that whenever COVID does finally move itself out of the mainstream thing, we could have one more thing to contend with. Like I don't think it's going to ever end. at this
I
point.
do think, though, like with all of the economic impact that's happened recently and just kind of the tanking of the markets a little bit, I think, and Zach, you're going to like this, I think we really do have to give a shout out to Nissan on being on the forefront of all this. Just tanking before anything happened. I think we need to give them some applause. They had forethought.
It may be empty, but here's to you, Nissan. Good job.
Where's the mute button for that guy? I will see him. I know we said we weren't going to acknowledge it, but no, that face. Not that you can actually see it right now because I'm recording and not streaming, but the fucking cat face.
So on the other end of the spectrum and the oil spectrum and all that shit is Tesla. Musk has been like a giant against coronavirus person, which is really odd for someone so smart to be so like, oh, it's a hoax, it's not a real thing, kind of a thing. And now he's finally acknowledged that it's pretty bad. They're finally, we talked about it last week, they're doing ventilators, they're creating ventilators for the other people, and they're finally helping out. It took so long for it to get there. It was kind of interesting. But Tesla is one of the only manufacturers that has not taken an effect by this. They've actually met their numbers that they gained and have increased. I think I saw that they have shipped since this quarter started almost 89,000 vehicles, which is insane. Probably because they didn't shut down their California factory for so long, and also their Shanghai factory just started back up because China is no longer over a quarantine. They're no longer in lockdown. So they're one of the few car manufacturers that's actually probably going to see good results after all of this. Also doesn't hurt that, they're the face of the EV revolution right now. So
yeah. Although Elon's been interesting on social media these last couple days. So
just the last couple days.
Something specific this morning. He blatantly. I follow a bunch of comedians because Twitter needs to be happy for me these days. And one of the comedians I follow, Morgan Murphy, she's like he literally just snipped her tweet and tweeted it as himself. And it's a picture of her dog. and she goes, and she's like, that's my dog. Like, why did you steal my tweet? And he goes, different dog, different tweet.
That's not how it works.
Yeah.
I called it, so it's mine. That's called plagiarism, man. No, plagiarism doesn't exist when it's me. It's like the Chevy trucks. They're special. I'm special. Fuck off.
He does have some kind of special to him, I think. But
one thing of note, though, is I put down here in the script, I hope Zach reads this. Nathan already did it, but it was a joke on Nissan failing and probably not going to be around next week. So great job, Nathan.
And I can't see the script. So
getting it from both sides there, Zach. Anyway, let's move it on to Harley Davidson.
Love you.
Do you? I question that a lot.
Somewhat.
So Harley Davidson, before any of the world turned on its head, Harley Davidson was in a downward spiral towards Nissan. Basically, they had no market, they had no customers. All of their people that they were selling to were now 70 years old and didn't want to buy a bike. Well, they've tried to change themselves and rebrand themselves and remarket themselves. And they have a new EV coming out called the Livewire, which we've had on the podcast. It looks fantastic, looks really cool. But Harley Davidson's not putting all of their eggs in that basket. They've got 2 new bikes coming out. We don't know names of them yet, but we do have an image here. Hopefully Zach will put that up when he edits the video.
I will.
Okay. Because the only thing we know about them right now is it's a possible 975cc or a 1,002. I typed that wrong. I also can't talk very well. It's 1,250 cc, so a 1250 cc motor, which is 1.25 liters.
Yeah,
that's a giant motor for a bike.
I mean, they have 1.4 and 1.6s.
That's as big
Yeah.
as your motor.
Yeah.
Almost.
I'm pretty sure Sam Matt took his riding test on a 1600cc Harley.
Wow.
My dad's everyday vehicle is a 1500 Harley.
Yeah.
So.
God, but those are cruiser bikes though, right?
Right.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. This is a sport bike with almost a 1.3 liter sport bike.
I can't remember if it was the Hayabusa or the.
Well, those get up to the actual like super sport bikes get crazy. They get up to like the 2500 range. So
they get big. They get
actually, what's really I will say that the coolest thing I've ever seen because I used to volunteer at the Bikes, Blues, and Barbecue bike show that's in Fayetteville is the people that make the V8 bikes because they're ridiculous. Yeah. They're just the most insane thing you've ever seen in your life. But they're kind of cool.
A flat six, I think, or a V6, or you can get them with a 6-cylinder.
Yeah.
Who puts a flat 6 in a bike?
BMW does all boxer motors in their bikes.
But they don't have 6s. They're all 4s, right?
I think 2 and 4. Yeah, I don't think they do a 6.
I mean, a 6-cylinder. That's a one long damn bike.
Well, I mean, their strokes this big.
You still got to fit 6 cylinders long ways.
They're tiny, comparatively.
Anyway, Harley's got 2 new bikes coming out, trying to change their whole brand, and they look great.
It's like a modern cafe racer, which I am really okay with.
Yeah. My only issue with Harley and the way that they're going is I like that they're changing it up and trying to have a new brand, but they're not actively marketing it. And all they've done with the Livewire is market it to their current clientele, which are the retirees, and none of them want that.
They want a big comfy cruiser.
Yeah. Well, the Livewire looks great, and I think this is going to be great too. I hate to say it because I'm not a Harley fan, but if you start making bikes like this and they're great, then awesome. Little side note, Aston Martin has announced that their work division, a division that is dedicated towards fixing all generations of Astons, is actually going to not do that, and they're going to now repair all NHS workers' vehicles. Don't know if that's for free, but they will be basically keeping everybody because the England's National Health and Safety Administration or organization or whatever is actually based in London, where Aston Martin's work program is. So they're going to hopefully try to keep those guys safe and working and able to get there and help everybody out. So
good deal.
Good thing from a car manufacturer that isn't, shitting on itself. So some big news that's not code related at all in any way. A leak happened with Ford, and apparently we've learned from the new VIN numbers in said leak that there is a hybrid F-150 coming out next year. The same documents also leaked that the Mach 1 is coming out next year. Oddly enough, the Mach 1 is going to kill off the GT350 and the Bullet. So the Bullet got 2 years of production. If you were lucky enough to buy one, you need to make sure you keep it. That is going to be a giant collector's edition car. They already were, but now for 2 years of it, oh man.
It seems silly. I feel like that was a kind of a bit of a triumph, the Bullet, for them.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
How long was the original Bullet in production? Well, they did it in the 90s too on the SN95 New Edge. I don't think they were very long runs.
They had the Bullet edition come out for the not the Fox body and not the long one, but the one after that, the one that ran from like 98 to 2006 or whatever.
SN95 New Edge.
Yeah, those ran for 2 or 3 years. I think 2002 to 2004. But
well, maybe sounds like they're just wanting to change things up.
Yeah.
It's cool that the Mach 1's going to come back, it's nice. I mean, the Mach 1 hasn't actually ran since 60-something? 69?
I want to say like 72.
Oh, did it end in 72? Okay.
I thought they did a more recent Mach 1, but I could be wrong.
They may have, or at least someone did a branded one.
Yeah, well, when I did a quick search of Bullet, I got the Bullet movie. I don't care enough to actually.
There was a 2004 Mustang Mach 1.
Oh, okay.
So again, SN95 New Edge.
Okay.
Only 305 horsepower.
Wow. Bad.
I mean,
It was
we didn't have a Mustang with real horsepower until recently.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. This
Now the V6s get that.
Yeah. This wasn't even the 5.0. They put a 4.6 in the Mach 1 in 2004.
Yeah, well, they're going to put a 5.0 in the new Mach 1, so.
The Mach 1's supposed to be a big beefy boy.
Well, they don't. They offer a 5.2 now in some of their Mustangs, I think.
Maybe.
I think
Really?
so. I think they're dropping it down, dropping the displacement down to a 5. I'll look that up and clarify, but I think I saw that they were running 5.2s in some of them.
They
I
might
think
be.
GT 500 is what's running the 5.2.
Probably stroked out that Coyote motor or something.
Yeah. But I want to talk about Hyundai now. So Hyundai's got two pretty cool cars coming out. But the first one is the Hyundai. Dang it, did I write the name down? Oh yeah, I can't read apparently. It's the Hyundai Elantra Edition. It's cool because one, it's going to get 50 mpgs, which is great because if the oil war does go on like I'm predicting it will, we're probably not going to be able to afford gas. So if you don't have an EV, this is a decent car to do it. Plus, it actually looks pretty good. Zach, if you can find a picture of it, I didn't put it in the script.
I'll try
Just
that
post it up there. But they look really good, and we've been loving on Hyundai for their tech, for their safety, for their reliability, for their actual performance. Performance in this car is not that great because it only gets 139 horsepower, 195 foot-pounds of torque, which is not bad. But I mean, the hybrid.
But they're also tiny.
Yeah.
So
And the hybrid motor is only 32 kilowatts. So I mean, it's not getting a big motor. It's a 1.6 liter motor with a tiny battery, so it's not moving a ton of stuff. It just also doesn't have a ton of power to it, which is why it gets 50 mpgs.
Yeah.
So
When you're looking for an econo car like that, you're not trying to get 40 miles per gallon out of 500 horsepower. That's not the point.
not feasible.
yeah, the Elantra is essentially the Corolla.
Pretty much.
That small compact sedan, and if anything, I would guess it's probably even lighter than that one. So
Probably.
Might be. Well, that one's a really cool hybrid that's coming out next year. But I wanted to end it on the G80, the Genesis G80. So apparently they're getting rid of the 5-liter V8, and they're popping it with a turboed 3. Did I write that on displacement? Yeah, 3.5 liter turbo V6, 380 horsepower, 391 foot-pounds of torque. But
damn.
check out that body. That is a beautiful car. In my opinion, I think it looks like a better Merc. Like, I think it looks fantastic. And I think they're going to pull it off really well. They're going to put 400 horsepower, 400 foot-pounds of torque in it, and it's going to hopefully be rear-wheel drive. It might be all-wheel drive. We don't know the actual addition of this yet. But man, yeah, it's a pretty car.
vehicle.
Yeah.
I'm torn. I can't tell. I can't decide if I like it or not. I don't like the grill. I don't like the front grill. The back is Bentley.
Okay.
Which, I mean, it's their luxury brand, so...
I was thinking AMG 65.
Maybe.
I think if it was an AMG, there would be something that was just like, I feel like all the dimensions are correct on this car.
Yeah, like this
You don't
is
get
the
that
better
with
Merc. This is what I thought.
Like there would be, the flared fender or something on an AMG that just be like, eh.
A big
This
track
doesn't
style
work.
wing for a car that'll never be on the track.
Yeah.
Right.
If you didn't want all the power, they two other motors. One of them we're probably not going to get because it's a diesel, 2.2 liter diesel, 304 horsepower. Sorry, wrong one. 210 horsepower, 325 foot-pounds of torque.
Yeah, it's a diesel.
Yeah, like I said, we're probably not going to get that one, but the other one that we probably will get is the 2.5 liter turbo 4, 304 horsepower, 311 foot-pounds of torque.
Not bad.
Still quite enough.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And that one will probably get you, 30 miles a gallon or 28 or something like that. So
Nowadays, yeah.
yeah. So really good cars coming out from Hyundai. So Mustang's coming out when the economy does turn around, ever does. There are some cars that are to be had.
So I have a very, very quick left field, which is I just saw a really cool looking car, and maybe you're familiar with it. I have to hold my mic, so if someone wants to link the Renault Desir, Deezir.
Oh boy.
Oh.
Oh boy.
Oh boy, right.
The doors. There's a normal like butterfly in a reverse.
It's a.
They open opposite directions.
Did not notice that at first. I thought it was a scissor on one side, fly on the. Oh, the side looks like an R8. Like the side of profile gives a really R8 shape to it.
That kind of like side stripe, yeah, definitely.
So this debuted. It's a concept of, obviously we never saw this in production, but it debuted at the Paris Motor Show in 2010. So this is actually a 10-year-old car, but it does not look it.
No, I would expect this to be like a current concept.
Yeah.
I'm not going to spoil it. Nathan, would you talk about the power?
Oh, I went only on looks. I looked.
Okay.
I looked at this up last week, so I haven't. It's nothing, right?
I can check.
It's a 148 horsepower electric motor.
Yeah.
Electric.
But it looks like that. It looks like it should have 700 something.
It looks like a hyper.
Oh man. Wow. It is interesting and pretty, but
It's like it's kind of like their version of the i8. You know, when the i8 came out and you were like, it looks like a supercar, but in no way is.
It's got a 4-cylinder. Oh.
Oh man, they made an Alpine version. Oh boy. Good thing we're sitting down right now.
Oh, hello.
Oh man.
This one had a 3.5 liter V6 though. It only weighed 2,000 pounds.
It had a VQ in it.
Did it?
The Alpine took the 3.5 VQ.
It's a good motor.
It's a just fine motor. It's just kind of funny that Alpine was like, we're not going to take a BMW motor. We're going to take a Nissan motor. But, I mean, Renault is a Nissan company, so I guess that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it just grabbed my eye. The actual concept car that debuted is nothing like crazy, especially what we have now when it comes to electric motors.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure the charge on that one was probably like 30 miles. No, I saw it. The other thing that I saw was I was looking at old car companies that are no longer with us. And are you familiar with NSU? NSU made some really interesting cars. If you look up, there are, RO80s. NSU RO80 is essentially the precursor to the Audi sedans that we have today.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, yeah.
And there's a reason for that. Audi and NSU were combined when Volkswagen both bought them.
Interesting.
So
interesting.
They are essentially Audi.
I forget what. I was doing some kind of research and stumbled upon NSU and learned about that. Actually, I think when I was doing the fastest by the decade, I think there was one Audi. I don't think I talked about it or it was mentioned somewhere, and I just went down a rabbit hole of Audi.
Well, the NSU Spider, when it first came out, was way ahead of its time in tech. I believe it had an automated roof, and this was like in the. I don't have it in front of me. It was just kind of a random car that I found, but it was early. It was like 50s, 60s kind of thing. So
the Spider was 64 to 67.
64.
It had a 0.5 liter single rotor Wankel engine. I think that's where I stumbled upon it. I was researching the Wankel engine. I think just in our group chat, actually, now that I think about it, we mentioned something about...
Mentioned who made the Audi, or not the Audi, but the rotary engine first.
Yeah. Actually,
yeah.
Did I mention NSU in the group chat?
Now you're going to search through your text and find out.
Thankfully,
I don't remember if you did.
Yep. When did the first rotary actually go into production? The NSU Spider.
There you go.
Nathan subconsciously finding cars that he was like, wait, I've never heard of this before. Yes, I have.
Yeah,
But I just don't know of it.
but the Renault Desir. If you're listening to this, look it up. It's just it's a really fun deep dive on Wikipedia just to look at the different car designs that came from that. And I kind of wish we had seen the French do something a little silly.
I guess we could always just say we hope the French do something anyway. Like, period.
Sorry if you hear Jack. You're probably going to hear him
At some point, he'll just have to come onto the podcast, his loud ass.
I can let him in here.
Nah.
He's just going to roll around on the ground and scratch his back.
All right, so we've got some news, we've got some left field. Are we ready to call beers episode? It'll be kind of an interesting episode because we're going to do 3 different beers. So if you're interested in that, check us out on Thursday. Yeah. Thanks, guys.
See you later.
Have a great midweek.